farmers we will meet on these tours come from all across the land that today we know as Canada. But for thousands of years, Indigenous peoples have been taking care of this land. They knew how to make sure the soil was healthy and the environment was taken care of. We rely on the land to grow food for us to eat. It's important that we take care of the land so it can nourish us. That's why we want to learn from the Indigenous people's wisdom and ways of caring for the planet. We want to work together to create a healthy future for this land and for our communities. This is called reconciliation, and it means we want to make things better between different groups of people.
Hello and welcome back to the Great Canadian Farm Tour. Today is our 6th stop on the tour, and we will be visiting some Christmas tree farms in Nova Scotia. But before we start today's tour, let's learn a little bit about the province of Nova Scotia. I'd like to introduce you all to Jacqueline, who is the Provincial Agriculture Programming Coordinator from Agriculture in the Classroom, Nova Scotia, and she's going to teach us a little bit about her province. Welcome, Jacqueline.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Nova Scotia. I'm excited for you to learn about Christmas tree farming today. But first, let's learn a little bit about our province. So today we're going to learn about our province's capital city, provincial bird, flower, and a landmark. This is our province's flag. It's similar to Scotland's flag because our province has many historical connections to Scotland. The capital city of Nova Scotia is Halifax. It has a population of about 480,000 people. And we're way down there on the bottom right of your screen, and Halifax is about in the center of the province. Our provincial bird is the osprey. Ospreys eat fish. To catch fish, they plunge feet first into the water, then they fly to a tall tree to eat what they have caught. The mayflower is our provincial flower. It grows along the east coast in North America. Early American settlers called it the Mayflower because they saw it as the first sign of spring. A popular landmark in Nova Scotia is Peggy's Cove. Nova Scotia is home to over 160 historic lighthouses, and Peggy's Cove is the most famous. Welcome to Nova Scotia.
Amazing. Thank you so much for teaching us a little bit about Nova Scotia, Jacqueline.
You're welcome. Have a great tour, everybody.
And now let's welcome back our Great Canadian Farm Tour host, who's got 2 thumbs and loves learning about Canadian agriculture. It's Colleen Credigan!
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Laura. Yes, I love learning about agriculture, and I've really enjoyed bringing you all along with me so we can learn together from farmers across Canada.
Have a great tour today. Keep learning.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. We'll see you at the end. So today, I'm very excited to tell you that we have 2 farmers that are going to be teaching us about Christmas trees. So let me introduce you to Chrissy and Jackie.
Hi.
Hi. So Chrissy and Jackie, we're so excited to learn more from you today. Students and teachers, we get to ask Chrissy and Jackie lots of questions, so make sure you type in your questions as a comment on YouTube. So Chrissy, we'll see you in the second section of the tour, and we're going to start off with Jackie and learn some more about Christmas trees. So today we're going to see the process of Christmas trees from when they're seeded to when they're harvested. So Jackie, what are you going to teach us about today?
Just the process of what our nursery goes through to grow a Christmas tree to go out and to be planted out for Chrissy to grow on and eventually cut and people can enjoy Christmas time.
Perfect. So can you tell us a little bit about the farm that you work on?
Yeah, so Scott and Stewart Forestry started back in 1994, took over from another nursery, and since then we've grown many different types of trees, well over 100 million different types of trees. But the one tree that we consistently grow every year is Christmas trees, whether it be balsam fir or Fraser fir or even exotic firs that we try to grow and see if we can, help the market, the Christmas tree world. So.
Okay, so I think we have a video here that we'll watch and you can teach us some more about the nursery.
Great. So at our nursery, in order to get our crops in the greenhouse, it takes a lot of prep work. So this just shows some of the crew getting a greenhouse ready. And this next picture is our seeder machine. So we seed our balsam fir using this seeder. It uses air to pick up the seed and drops it down into these inserts. And you'll see when the inserts get lifted up, that's our jiffy plugs that we grow our trees in. So for the balsam fir, we try to put about 3 seeds in each plug. And you'll see that there's quite a few plugs there that you have to make sure that it's seeded well. So this goes through, and the last lady is just making sure that everything is seeded properly before we carry on. So we're now going to go, and it goes and gets vermiculite put on. So this is just a material we put on the seed to protect, to make sure that the seed stays where it's supposed to be so that it'll germinate. Then it gets a little bath with some water, and it's going to be ready for packing on the trailer. So you'll see the gentleman here putting this insert into the jiffy tray. There's 2 inserts per tray. That's 330 trees in one tray. So this trailer will haul about 100,000 trees at a time. So you'll see this slide is a greenhouse that is being filled, and it's just a lot of work, a lot of process. You'll see the overhead water lines that we use for watering, and you'll see on the side that there's bird netting because the birds will eat the seed. And so we like the birds, but we don't want them eating the seed. So this greenhouse would have about 400,000 trees in it when it's filled and growing. So so we'll look and see, and you'll see the vermiculite on the top. And now we're into a greenhouse here that's actually just in the process of germinating. You'll see this water system is a water cart. This runs up and down the greenhouse to water the trees. This crop is, there's a balsam fir here in the white trays. There's about 400,000 trees in this greenhouse, 400,000 Christmas trees. So this crop was seeded about 3 weeks ago, and they're just starting to germinate. So the process that we do is you might see some of the seed heads coming up. The trees will germinate, and the seeds will be on the top. And when the seeds drop off, we're ready to thin these trays. So what we have to do is we have to make sure there's 1 tree in every plug. And that's a lot of work. Somebody will actually come in, and if there's 2 trees in a plug, they'll remove it, 1 tree, and they'll make sure that these trays are completely full so we can grow these for the season. So I'm just trying to get you can see the seed with the little trees germinating. And balsam fir, that's what those are. They are very slow and inconsistent to germinate, but they come after all. This crop here is a crop of trees that were transplanted last year, probably around July. There's about 200,000 Christmas trees here. We're going to grow these on until the fall and ship them in the spring. These are 45s. There's 45 trees in a tray. So these are going to be flushed out, and they're going to be shipped off later on in the fall. So these have just gotten through the winter. So this is just a crop that once it flushes, it'll look much greener. If trees, we bring them into the fall and we have to protect them for the winter. This is the system that we use, pallets and plastic. And this last picture is showing the Christmas trees that are ready to be picked up to go to the Christmas tree farmers. So this is what the next lady, Chrissy, will come and pick up and take in and plant in the forest in the Christmas tree lot. So.
Wow, so interesting, Jackie, to see all the trees lined up in the greenhouse, and very cool to see how they start. So we have some questions here from students. Let's get to answering some. So Callie from 3B would like to know what it means to germinate.
Well, to germinate, so when you have a seed and you water it and it produces a plant, when it starts to grow, that's called germination. The seed turns into an actual plant.
Right. So when a seed has everything it needs, so it needs water mainly to germinate, right? So then it starts growing the plant.
It starts to grow, yes.
Perfect. Good question. Let's answer another one. If a plug has more than one tree growing, what do you do with the tree sprouts that you take out?
We usually try to put them in another plug. So what we'll do is we'll take them out and we'll transplant them into another plug. So we don't want to waste any trees at all.
Okay, that's really good to know. And we have time for one more question. So Ethan in 4P asks, why did you want to be a Christmas tree farmer or to work at this nursery?
I always liked to grow. I went to agricultural college years ago, and that's what I studied. And that was something I always wanted to do, was to grow anything. And I like to grow trees. So
very interesting. Okay, well, thank you so much, Jackie, for joining us and teaching us about Christmas tree nurseries. Right now, we're going to jump into our first brain break today. So students, get your activity books ready to write down the answer to your brain break question.
Did you know each time a fully grown Christmas tree is cut down, there are 1 to 3 new trees planted?
Hi again, Chrissy.
Hi.
So we learned about Christmas tree seedlings from Jackie, and what are you going to teach us about now?
Well, I'm going to teach you what happens after we pick up the seedlings from Jackie and how to grow them on our farm. There's a video coming up to show everything.
Perfect.
Welcome to Junior's Dream Christmas Trees and Blueberries. We're located in Caledonia Mills, which is just outside of Antigonish County in Nova Scotia. This farm has been in our family for the past 45 years. My brothers and I spent endless hours on this farm working and also having lots of fun. Through the years, we would help our father plant, fertilize, space, and trim trees. And in the summer, we would swim in the small lake that is just here on our property and stay at our camp until the harvest was over. My children now enjoy coming here, and we make it a tradition every year. Well, the first thing to do when you own a Christmas tree farm is to make sure that you have Christmas trees. We purchase our trees each year from the nursery where Jackie just put on the presentation. The trees that we purchase are balsam fir. Balsam fir are known for their amazing aroma, which is the smell of Christmas, and their strong traits for growing here in Nova Scotia. We usually plant them in the early spring before the weeds start to grow and the ground is nice and moist. Or they can be planted in the fall after the hot, dry summer has passed. This is my daughter Taylor helping to bring the trees to our farm so we can begin to plant them in the ground. We usually plant around 2,000 to 3,000 seedlings each year. And for every tree that we cut, we always make sure that there is another one planted. Taylor is getting ready to plant the seedlings on our property. Taylor uses a small bucket to put the seedlings in, or you can use a tree planting bag which goes around the waist. She also uses a tree planter, which creates a hole big enough to put the seedling in the ground by using her foot and stepping on the end of the planter. Greg is behind with a pole, trying to make sure the seedlings are planted in a straight line. But sometimes you just have to fill in the areas where there are no other trees. Taylor is making sure the seedlings are planted approximately 6 feet apart. Sometimes you will have to skip by already planted trees. By keeping the trees 6 feet apart, this will help them grow on all 4 sides. And in approximately 7 to 10 years, these trees should be approximately 6 to 9 feet tall and ready for the harvest. Next, we'll show some different stages of the trees. These trees here are approximately 4 to 6 years old. Once a tree gets to this size, it's time to start trimming. Trimming the trees will create that beautiful Christmas tree look, and eventually the tree will be big enough for harvest. They are very cute trees when they are younger. Coming up ahead is our Nova Scotia mascot representing the Christmas tree industry, Buddy Balsam. Buddy likes to attend Christmas parades and pass out coloring books to the kids. Every year, a Christmas tree must be trimmed, especially before the growing season, which is usually in the late spring in Nova Scotia. Once the growing season begins, buds will appear on the ends of the Christmas trees, which actually look like tiny little Christmas trees growing on each end. Once the buds are done growing, Taylor must trim the tree to make sure she keeps the shape of a Christmas tree. After the trimming, it's time to decide whether the tree is ready for harvest, or if it isn't big enough, we will wait another year and let it grow. Once the trees are carefully trimmed, we put ribbons on the ones that are ready to be harvested. Different colors of ribbon mean different sizes and different quality of each tree. A lot of our Nova Scotia balsam firs are sold here in local garden centers, retail lots, U-Picks, hardware stores, but most of our balsam firs are exported to various countries, mainly to the US, but they also travel around the world to places such as Puerto Rico and as far as Dubai, India. When it's time to harvest, Greg will dress in protective clothing and use his power saw to trim the bottom of the tree. This is to make sure there's a lot of space to put all your presents under. And then he will cut the tree down. Taylor will then come along and drag the tree to the closest road available. After the trees are placed at roadside, a Christmas tree baler will arrive and start wrapping the trees nice and tight, and finally be loaded onto a truck to head for their new home.
Wow, so interesting to see the trees go from Jackie's place to yours, Chrissy.
Yes.
And loved meeting your little mascot in Nova Scotia. What's his name again?
Buddy Balsam.
Buddy balsam. I love it. Okay, let's see if we have some questions here from our viewers. Are there any diseases or bugs that eat Christmas trees?
Yes, there is. There are aphids, which we have to carefully monitor, and tussock moths, which we monitor. We are very lucky that we haven't had too many bugs that cause much damage in the last few years, but it is something that you do have to keep an eye out on.
Okay, good to know, and great question. Another one here. So Judah asks, how many trees do you harvest a year?
On our farm, we harvest approximately 1,000 to 3,000 trees, depending on the years.
Wow, okay. And you said you plant that many a year too, almost,
Yes.
right? Great. Okay, another question. Do you need to fertilize the trees? From Beth.
Yes, you do. And this is the time of year, just as the trees are almost ready to bud, we do put fertilizer down to help to make the color a nice bluish green and to help the needles become nice and strong.
Very interesting. Okay, let's have one more question. Why do you trim the trees?
Okay, we trim the trees to make them look like a Christmas tree. A balsam fir will just grow up to be like a tree that you see when you're driving on the side of the road if you do not trim it in that A-frame style Christmas tree look.
Right, so you kind of want it to look like that, get that nice peak at the top, and so you
Yes.
can have the triangle look. Okay, very interesting. So now we're going to jump into our second brain break video.
Did you know? Real Christmas trees can be recycled, whereas many plastic Christmas trees end up in our landfills.
Okay, everybody, here is today's mystery word. So write the word food down in your passport beside Nova Scotia's flag. Now you might be thinking food is kind of a funny mystery word to have on a Christmas tree farm tour, but it's important for us to realize that there's many different types of farmers in Canada and not all of them produce food. So Christmas tree farmers are a good example of farmers that don't produce food, but they produce other things that we can use, like Christmas trees. Okay, Chrissy, we're in the last section of our tour. We've already learned so much about Christmas tree farming, and we have one more video here, and excited to see what else you have to teach us.
Great. Did you know that 1 acre of real Christmas trees consumes about 500 pounds of carbon dioxide each year? That same acre produces 1,000 pounds of oxygen annually. So guess what? That's the same amount that 18 people need to breathe each day. Real Christmas trees are environmentally friendly and recycle. Therefore, they won't fill up any landfill sites. At tree farms, when a tree is cut down, it is replaced with another, and they can grow on soil that is unfit for other crops. Here are some clips showing how the harvest takes place. The trees are cut down and placed near the closest road. The farmer then finds the trees with the ribbons and does his best not to miss any. Once the area is cut, a crew of 3 or 4 will come with a Christmas tree baler. Lots of different color ribbons for different sizes and grades of trees. It's quite the job to get the trees ready for their new home. Here he is dragging them to one spot where the baler can come in and wrap them. The baler wraps the tree in twine nice and tight so it can get ready for shipping. The trees are then placed on a wagon where they can be taken to a main road. Once they get to the main road, they are sorted by sizes and grade and will be organized there until a transfer truck comes and they are loaded on and they will make their way to their new home.
So what time of the year do you harvest the trees, Chrissy?
We start harvesting the trees around the 1st of November.
Okay. Interesting. And then that makes sure that everybody has them by December, hopefully.
Yes, that's correct.
Very cool to see all those bundled trees ready to go to their new home.
Yes.
Okay, we have some time for a couple questions. How do they grow in the winter, and what do they need to survive? From Camden and Lena.
So a Christmas tree is like any other tree. It will go dormant in the fall, and it will stay dormant until the spring of the year. So hopefully it's a great winter where there's snow coverage and not much wind and cold temperatures. And that's all they need to survive is a good environment.
Okay, great. One more question here. Olivia would like to know how much a tree grows per year. Good question.
It all depends on the area and the land, but a tree does grow approximately around half a foot to a foot each year.
Okay, and how old are the trees normally when you harvest them?
They're around 10 years old.
10 years, so takes them a long time to grow.
Yes.
Okay, it's now time for our job spotlight to learn about different careers in agriculture. So let's watch today's.
Accountants help farmers and businesses with their money. They offer advice to their clients and help them make good decisions. Accountants usually work in an office where clients can come and talk about their finances.
Okay, Jackie and Chrissy, do you both use an accountant on your farm?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, to help you keep track of your money?
Yes, and to give us the best advice possible for saving receipts and things that we should do to help with expenses.
Okay, perfect. So just goes to show how important accountants are. So unfortunately, we've come to the end of our tour. Jackie and Chrissy, thank you so much for joining us today and teaching us about Christmas tree farming in Nova Scotia.
Thanks for coming.
See you. All right, what an awesome tour.
Yeah, that was a really great tour. I did not know a lot about how Christmas trees are grown, and I didn't know how good growing Christmas trees is for the planet.
I know, it's so many environmental benefits.
Yeah. So for our next stop on the tour, we are going to be heading back out west and we'll be visiting a grain farm in Alberta.
Yes, I can't wait to bring you all along on that tour.
Me too. See you all in Alberta.
Bye!